Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the Namibian Motorsport Federation 2023 eSports Series. Today we are here for round 6, coming to you live from Road Atlanta in America, Georgia in America. I'm your commentator, Dennis Mitchell, and today I will be flying solo. I don't have any other commentary with me today, so hopefully I don't make too many mistakes. But this is the 6th round. The drivers will be driving in the British touring cars today from Road Atlanta. Quite a tight, quite a lot of undulation. A very, very nice track to be driving in these cars. The following round, we will obviously be going back to the German-style touring car. But today it is the British touring car. And just looking at our schedule for the remainder of the season, this is round 6. So the next round in 2 weeks' time will be Road America in the German touring car. Then it will be Lime Rock Park in the British touring car. Another track with lots and lots of undulation. Then we head over to the home of the German touring car, which is Hockenheim in Germany. And the final round still showing as Alton Park, but there's a small chance it will be the home race, Tony Rust, so that the track is in the works, so we're hoping that will be sorted out. Looking at our point system, this is the point system for our drivers. So the points for first place, 20 points, go all the way down to 15th place, where it is 1 point. There's 1 extra point for pole position, as well as 1 point for the fastest lap in the race. Looking at our standings coming into this round, we have Adrian Nel, who's now taking quite an advantage over Jean-Andre de Toy, a 5-point lead at the moment. Jandre Dupin, 3rd place, 56 points. Then Richard Saliers up to 4th place, 46 points. Peter Murray climbing up to 5th place on 35 points. JP Salier on 34 points. Wayne Kruger, who unfortunately has pulled out of the rest of the series due to increased work commitments. He is currently in P7 on 33 points. Andre Besson, P8 on 28 points, and he's definitely climbing. He's joined the series late. He's showing good pace, so expect him to rise up the ranks. And Donovan Vermaak, P9, also getting a lot faster as the rounds are progressing, in 22 points there. And in P10, Dirk Kotzer on 16 points. I believe the drivers are currently on track, so we're going to jump to qualifying in a moment. Let's just see. They should be there. I can jump to our live feed. The drivers are officially on track. So this is the official qualifying. It is a 15-minute qualifying session. They'll have 15 minutes to put in their fastest time. If they're on a lap before as the time runs out, if they're on a lap, they are able to finish the lap. They will then have, I think it's 2 minutes before the grid is formed. And then it is a 35-minute race. The drivers can do as many pit stops as they like. It's up to them. There has been a balance of performance through the cars, so the front-wheel drives should come strong as the race progresses, and they are very, very close in qualifying time, so hopefully things will be a lot closer between all the drivers now. Alright, so now we can get our times up as we're watching Andre Besson currently on the lap. He has been one of the pace setters around here. He's been near the front, so let's see if he can get a good time. He's currently with the fastest first sector. It shows purple there. Purple is fastest. The moment we're seeing on the live timing lots and lots of faster sectors. We have the fastest middle sector of Jandre Dupin. So Jandre currently about to come across the line. He's fastest in Sector 1 and Sector 2. So he will put up the first time for the drivers to chase. We have a yellow flag in Sector 3. I'm not sure if that's someone that maybe spun in the final corner. It has now cleared. So there we have our first time of the day at 25, and it is straight away beaten. It was a 25.6 straight away with a 24.7 by Jean-Andre de Toy. So let's see if we can find Andre now rounding the final turn. Fastest in Sector 1 is not fastest in Sector 2. Let's see, he pops up to 2nd place. Dirk has now just popped up into 2nd place. So the time's coming in very, very fast. Dirk showing good pace at the moment. Currently in 2nd place on a 124.8. So that's only a 10th shy of Jean-Andre de Toy. We're pretty sure that Adrian Nel is going to be putting in some blistering times. He did manage to get into the 23s in practice. He did have the fastest sector there. So let's see if that plays out. Looked like he had a bit of traffic there. So So I imagine this lap might not be the fastest. We'll see how lap time Sector 3 shows, but I imagine it's not going to be quick. It might still put him near the front. He had quite an advantage in Sector 1. Let's see how much he's lost. There's 10 minutes left of qualifying, so he can pace himself, go back to the pits, do a tyre change and head back out. Looks like he might actually be rolling back slightly just to gain a bit of a gap. I believe that's Donovan from Mark in front of him. Mind you, his middle sector is not too bad, so he definitely can still grab pole position if he gets a good final sector here. Looks like he's fighting a little bit of oversteer there. Comes around the final turn. Once again, we see a yellow flag, so I'm not sure if someone has once again just maybe dipped the wheel onto the dirt. And Adrian jumps up into second place, so half a second shy. It looks like the times have dropped quite a lot, as we see Jean-Louis de Toy at the front currently on a 1:23.3. I believe that's the fastest time we've seen on the server so far. We had a 23.6, I think it was, by Adrian Nell in the practice session, so Jean-Louis has been keeping his cards close to his chest. 11 drivers today, so good to see high numbers today. Previous rounds we had lots of drivers with work commitments and so on, so good to see the numbers climbing back up again. Unfortunately, like I said in the build-up, unfortunately Wayne is not going to be joining us for the rest of the championship due to work commitments. His work has got increasingly busier and he now cannot make it for the rest of the year. So if there are any other Namibian drivers out there that would like to join, you can always join the Discord channel. Remember to always hit the like and subscribe on the YouTube channel. But if you'd like to join us, you can head over to the Namibian's motorsport.org web address that pops up here and you can sign up, or you can go to the Discord and sign up and come join us. As we see Jean-Louis heading into the pits. Richard currently in third as he gets a big slide on there. I guess we'll have to change to the next driver, which let's head over to Donovan. Donovan is on a flying lap. Oh, actually he's on an out lap, so I thought he was on a flying lap. Perhaps we can head over to Yandre Duppenaar because his time's not showing what he should be doing. He was the first driver to put a time in and was straight away demoted from first down to second, and he's all the way down to 7th place at the moment, and that's definitely not his pace. Let's see where he comes across. So from 7th place he jumps up to 4th place, so still 1.3 seconds shy. I expect that his times will improve. Maybe he had a bit of traffic, unless his setup is maybe focused more towards race. Just over 8 minutes left in qualifying. Let's see how JP is doing. So JP currently on an out lap. In the middle sector at the moment, he has just in front of him we have Monet du Toit. Monet is on a lap, so let's have a look at Monet. Monet in the middle sector, but it looks like he doesn't have a sector 1 showing, which means he's probably gone off track and therefore his time won't count. So the driver that joined me last race in the commentary was Peter Murray. Unfortunately, Peter Murray had to go for surgery, so wasn't able to race, but he is actually back today. Just starting a flying lap now. So perhaps we can go on board with Peter. So Peter, welcome back, Peter. First of all, let's do an onboard of Road Atlanta. Very, very careful. Make sure you take enough curb on the inside there that will help rotate the car. The car to the left here. Turn in, it's a slight blind apex there on the right. Take a bit of curb on the left, not too much. This inside curb, you got to be careful. It will, in these cars, lift the cars up onto 2 wheels. Bit of a straight here, then you'll head into a double right-hander. Put on the throttle now, hard on the brakes here. This second right-hander is a little bit tighter. Difficult to get good exit because you've got a long straight here before the final chicane. Just listening to how the engine is screaming. Going down the hill, hard on the anchors here. You can take a fair amount of curb on the inside here. Be aware not to take on the right there, because that will unsettle the car. Turn in very, very early here. You didn't turn in as early as you could. You can turn in just a straight line. Because of the crest there, it unsettles the car. Nice and neat through the final sector. That is 8th place for Peter Murray currently. So Adrian now currently in second place. He is on an outlap. Now starting sector 1. Let's compare his flying lap now. A bit of a slide, powers through it. Gets over to the right as early as possible. Blind crest. Blind apex, sorry, blind apex there. Khan. Looks like Monet du Toit has spun there. Everyone currently on the soft tyre, which shows up in the timing board on the left. Red is soft, yellow is medium, and white is hard. So not his fastest sector 1, but only just a fraction shy of his personal best. We did see he had traffic in his middle sector the last flying lap we saw, so perhaps this will be much quicker in the middle sector. Currently Adrian is 0.589 shy of pole position. Let's see how the middle sector now pans out. Jean du Toit is showing good pace at the moment, so it might actually get pole position today. Adrian having actually a very, very slow middle sector there. Let's see what sort of time does he get as he crosses the line. Slight hesitation on the throttle there. So that time was only at 26.2, so it looks like Adrian struggling slightly, so 4.5 minutes left to go. You see TJ heading into the final chicane. He'll come across the line. Personal best in sector 1, slightly slower in the sector 2. Let's see if he's able to improve his time. Currently half a second shy of JP, but not improving his time on that lap. We changed to Dirk. Dirk is on an out lap. I thought Dirk was on a flying lap, so perhaps we can find someone who is on a flying lap. Let's have a look at Andre Besson. He's just done a fastest personal sector in sector 1. So possibly he'll have a good end to the lap. He is 3/10 shy of third position. So he just needs to find 3/10 and he'll be effectively in the fight for the podiums. So currently we have front wheel drive in pole position, rear wheel drive in second, rear wheel drive in third, and front wheel drive in fourth. So a good mix of the front and rear wheel drive cars. Looks like he's trying to get into the slipstream of a car in front of him, which I think is Monet du Toit in the Infinity. Not too much curb there, unsettling the car, but that should have been okay. He didn't lose too much momentum. Taking a nice amount of curb. Will he turn in nice and early? He does. Doesn't take too much curb there. That curb also can unsettle the car. And unfortunately, he's dropped down to fifth because it looks like Yandre Dippenaar has now jumped up into third. So Yandre is now on fire, and once again, fastest first sector. So Yandre is finally on a roll. He's improving. 2.5 minutes to go. So he should be able to get this lap in one more if he's got enough fuel and enough tires left to do it. So maybe he fueled for a longer run. And his lap times are getting faster and faster. Currently only 5/10 of pole position. Adrian Nel is 3/10 of pole position. So 5/10 covering the top 3 at the moment. Richard Celia only 2/10 shy of Yandre, so lots to fight for in the top battle there. Right, heading down into the final chicane. Looked like the back end came out and then we had to correct there, so he might have lost this lap. And looks like he's rolling out of it just to get a bit of space. He was on personal best, but unfortunately that's the end of that lap for him. And if he does quit now, he won't have time to complete another lap. So let's have a look at Adrian Nel. Adrian is on a flying lap now. This will probably be his final lap. Let's see, can he get a good first sector in? Jean du Toit also on track at the moment. Adrian with the fastest first sector, so he's on track to steal pole position from Jean, unless Jean can set the fastest sector. So 26.033 in Sector 1. How will Sector 2 pan out between them? Let's jump to Jean-Andre quickly. Let's see how Jean-Andre's next sector pans out. About to cross the beacon. 26.0 was what Adrian done, so Jean-Andre's time not showing, so maybe he had a cut. Alright, Adrian 39.6, so not his fastest, and losing it in the final corner, or final chicane I should say. He might have enough time to cross the line and still get another lap in. I think he will be the final driver to get a lap in then. Drivers that are on times will be able to finish, but I don't think anyone else is close enough. He does indeed cross the line to start another flying lap. Alright, so he's on a flying lap. Let's see, can he improve? Let's follow him across Sector 1. At the moment, it doesn't look like any of our other drivers are on track to improve. I think possibly, let's have a quick look at Andre Besson. He has jumped to the pits, unfortunately. And Jean-Andre is going slowly, so we are going to go back to Adrian. Let's see if Adrian can improve. It's the last ditch effort this. It looks like he's going to abandon the lap. Peter Murray, I think, is possibly on for a good lap. He is still driving, but I think he's driving slow. Then it possibly is Monet. Monet currently with his fastest personal best in Sector 1. So maybe Monet can steal a position. Right, let's see. Can Monet improve? Personal best in Sector 1. Can he get a personal best in Sector 2 and Sector 3? The Infinity is a competitive car to drive. I'm not sure how it handles the undulations so much. I think the undulations maybe favor front wheel drives. A little bit cautious through there. Maybe he's been bitten there before. Right, heading across to the final corner. Alright, well that's that. We're going to jump to an ad break. We'll be back shortly. Alright, welcome back everybody. Of course, back live for the race for the Namibian Motorsport Federation 2023 eSports Series. This is the round 6 from Road Atlanta. It's a 35-minute race coming to you from Georgia in the United States. I'm your commentator Dennis Mitchell. I'm flying solo today. So hopefully I'll keep you entertained. Remember to hit the like and subscribe button, and to sign up on the Discord channel or head over to the Namibian Motorsport Federation's website and get involved with the Namibian Motorsport. Let's have a look at their starting order then. So, in pole position we have Jean-Andre de Toy getting a point for pole, Adrian Nel second, Jandre Duppenaar in third, and Richard Solier in fourth. In 5th place we have Andre Besson, in 6th place Dirk Kotzer, in 7th Donovan van Mark, and in 8th Peter Murray. In 9th place Monet du Toy, in 10th place TJ Duvenage, and in 11th place JP Solier. Alright, so the drivers now will be preparing. It is a rolling start. So they will be following the safety car carefully. Make sure that they don't... Oh, as I say carefully, we see Adrian Nel going off there. Hopefully he avoided the barrier. That is quite a scare for him, I'm sure. I think he'll be able to regain position because he should be safe to retake his position as long as it doesn't cross the line out of position. He should be fine. So having gone off there, he can just work his way back up to his position in second, as long as he doesn't have any damage. And that could be quite critical if he does have damage. Right, drivers now slowly making their way around. The safety car will peel into the pits now, and then it is up to Jean-Andre to dictate the pace. Drivers need to maintain position until they cross the finish line. Right, so everyone will stay together. It's very competitive at the front here at the moment.
Green flag, go, go, go.
Alright, away we go. Heading into turn 1. Very, very close in second and third there between... Oh, we see Jean-Andre going wide into turn 1. That's not good. Definitely not what he wants for his race, having got pole position. Now he's got dirty tyres. Hopefully nothing else wrong with the car, but he should be fine. But in the lead we have Jandre Duppenaar. Will he be able to capitalize? He's got Adrian Nel right behind him at the moment, so he's going to be under threat from Adrian. And let's see what sort of threat Adrian's going to bring. In fact, Jandre has taken himself off, so that's unfortunate. So, Adrian Nel now in the lead. Coming under threat from... Oh, he's getting very, very sideways. Coming under threat at the moment from Andre Besson. So, Andre having a good start as well. Jandre right there with him. So, Jandre has made up the space that he's pretty much lost. He's probably 2 or 3 tenths back at the moment. Shows 3 tenths back from the lead. Going to make a move on... Oh, we see Andre running wide. We see Adrian losing it slightly there. It looks like no one wants to lead the race today. And of course, up into second place, we now have Richard. So Richard now has Dirk right behind him. So Dirk up into the podium positions. So all to play for at the moment. A lot's happening right now. So in the background, we also have Monet du Toy. Monet challenging nicely here. Right up behind Adrian at the moment, and right behind him Donovan van Mark. Oh, as we see Monet now heading off into the barrier, and Donovan. I'm not sure why the drivers are struggling so much. Maybe just over eager with their throttle position. And now we have Peter Murray up into 4th place. It just shows you got to be in it to win it. So as long as you can finish, you can get a result. If you can't finish, you're not going to get the result. But this does mean that we have Jandre de Toy now with quite an advantage of 2 seconds over Richard. So now the question is, the drivers that have been off, what sort of damage do they have? So we have Yandre Dupnar looking like he's got a slightly wounded car. He's in 7th place. We'll keep an eye on his lap times. We have Adrian Nel with a slightly wounded car in 4th place. We have Monet Dutoya with a wounded car. We have Donovan van Mark with a wounded car. In fact, Donovan van Mark has now DNF'd, so he's obviously got too much damage. Maybe his steering was pointing in the wrong direction. We have a new fastest lap for Jean-Louis Dutoya of a 1:25.7. So we have quite a close battle going on here at the background here with Adrian Nel and Andre Besson. Right, so I was going to say, can Adrian keep Andre behind, but Andre's already got by. Well, actually, that's Peter Murray. Sorry, I'm getting confused here. It's actually Peter Murray that's directly there. So Peter Murray being very competitive at the moment, chasing Andre Besson. Andre has just got past him there. Can the slipstream play a part on this track? There are long straights, slipstreams could be a thing. I think the BMW does have a bit more legs than what the Vauxhall does in front of him. But the Vauxhall's got a shorter wheelbase, it is more nimble, so I think through this chicane over here, it might just pull a little bit of a gap. All kinds of action happening up in front of them as well, with the 2 drivers in front. See the sun starting to set as well. The race is quite late in the day. The driver's going to be having to contend with the sun at certain parts of the track being in their eyes. Like here, they come up the crest. There's the sun in their eyes. As it will start to set, it should become easier to see. So at the moment we have Dirk under threat now. Well, Dirk actually challenging. Dirk challenging Richard and Adrian right behind them. So quite a battle going on here at the moment. So this is the battle for 2nd place effectively. Looks like Adrian up the inside here. Ooh, a little bit of a tap there. Dirk not giving him any space. Dirk wanting this podium very, very hard. In the background you see, I believe that was Peter Murray spinning. Peter Murray is still recovering from surgery, so hopefully he is alright. Right, Adrian looking here to go past the outside now of Dirk. Well, this will, I think, put him up the inside into the chicane. And he does indeed get up the inside. So Adrian now onto the podium, which is quite critical for the championship. He is our championship leader at the moment. He leads by 5 points, so he needs to stay in the fight. He's already lost 1 point by Jean-Ray getting pole position. So the difference is currently 4 points. Right, heading up the hill, having a look at the moment at Richard. I'm sure Richard will be making his car as wide as possible. Dirk is still hanging in there with them, so he's got to drive defensive while trying to catch up as well. And 100% in the distance, not too far back. With the balance of performance that these cars have had, the front wheel drives should come good as the race progresses. So we'll see how do they perform as the race goes on. We also have a variety of different tyre choices. Some of the drivers choosing soft, some of them choosing the yellow and medium tyres. We see, oh, very, very sideways there. Adrian losing all the ground that he's just made up. So Adrian is on the medium tyre. The drivers on the soft tyres have pulled away. So we have Jean-Louis Dutoy out in front on the soft tyre, the red sidewall. We have Richard Selliers, the fastest driver on the medium tyre, and I think that's because he's probably gained a bit with the other drivers making incidents. It's looking like the medium tyre is just not coming up to temperature quite as fast as what the soft is. The softs definitely have gained the guys an advantage at the start. But how will it progress as the race goes further? Will the drivers with the medium tyres then become the drivers to beat? Because if that is the case, it looks like odds are on Richard Sellier then, who's currently 6.5 seconds shy of Jean-Ray. If his tyres hold up and Jean-Ray's hit the cliff, then possibly Richard will be in the perfect position towards the end of the race. Lots of smoke in front of us, so some of the drivers going off there. I'm not sure if that was Dirk or if that was possibly Andre. Dirk looking like slightly wide, and just behind them now, Andre did put a wheel on the dirt. So looking out at front, we have Jean de Toy, who is just clearing off at the moment. So perfect start, wasn't quite the case, but perfect position at the moment with a nice gap. So making a bit of a blunder into turn one, running wide, allowing 3 cars past, coming back past him with some of them making their own mistakes. And now he seems to have settled into his groove. Last lap time was a 1:24.5. or 7, which was actually the fastest lap of the race. So Dirk in third place for the personal best of a 1:25.5 on the previous lap. And in front of him, Richard only a 1:26. So he's actually catching Richard. So Richard has to be careful. Adrian now also back up to fourth place. He's got past Andre Besson. So it looks like Adrian has got the pace. He's just having a few issues here and there, struggling to keep the car on the track. Let's see, can he get past Dirk? Dirk will now be watching his mirrors very, very closely. Adrian is all over the back of Dirk at the moment. Let's see. The sunset starting to become a problem for some of the drivers, especially the drivers in VR. They'll find the sunset a bit more of a... Oh, Adrian getting very, very loose there. Looks like Adrian's really struggling for traction. So that, of course, has released Andre now to the back of Dirk. So now Dirk has to worry about Andre rather than Adrian. So Adrian definitely struggling. His rear end just seems to snap. It's almost as if the rear end is just too stiff and the tires can't keep up with the weight shift. Right, so once again we have to see how long before... There's still 25 minutes to go. We've only had 10 minutes go, so plenty of time for Adrian to still get past. He does look like he has the pace to get at least second place. If he can keep it on the road, we'll see how his lap times compare. He's done it 24.9 in the race, so he's 4/10 shy of what Jean has done. So Jean definitely has the pace. But he could still maybe get up to second place, which would be crucial for his championship. Right, so Andre now giving Dirk a real hard time at the moment. Let's do a dual camera with 2 of them fighting it hard. Oh, it's like almost cameraman's curse. As we see the sun setting there, a couple of sparks. Right, let's see on the braking zone who's going to catch and who's going to pull. How's this going to work out? Just the right amount of curb, nice and smooth. Drivers, I'm sure, hoping that the slipstream, they'll probably be moving themselves back and forward in the seat, trying to get a bit more run. Gap has definitely grown in the last sector or two. I think at the moment Richard looks like he's doing just enough to hang on, but he is still under threat by Dirk. Dirk is still hanging in there. He go on board with Dirk for a lap. The shadows are definitely growing in the race. 23 minutes still to go. Curb there, got to be careful you don't get a warning for that. Of course, we do have live stewards today, as we have had for every other race. Currently 3 live stewards. We have Marius van Wyk, we have Rian van der Westhuizen, and I've just had a mental blank on the third name, so apologies. It's Geraldine. I think it's Geraldine Nord. Geraldine is from the Namibian Motorsport Federation. She is a real world steward, I believe. But I'm just watching all the action out the corner of my eye. I'm seeing Adrianel challenging heavily at the moment. Sitting right on the bumper there of Dirk. Is he going to send it up the inside on the brakes? Oh, thinking better of it. Keeping the car nice to the side just to make sure that Andre behind him, Andre Besson, doesn't get past. Ooh, gets better drive. I think he might be getting a slight a bit of nudge from Andre there. Andre now looking up the inside here. The sun definitely going to be playing a part to some of the drivers. As I was starting to say before I got distracted. Oh, the sliding there. The drivers in VR are going to find the sunset a lot more difficult because they can't look around it like you can in normal screen. It kind of blinds you. So they almost have to look down and away out of the sun, so it's quite difficult in VR. Right, Andre now looking to challenge Dirk. So Dirk having a solid race at the moment. Right, finally he's got past Dirk. Will Dirk be able to challenge us? And now heading to the tighter section. I think this is the sector where he's getting very defensive. Giving enough space. Ooh, it was rubbing there. He comes back. Andre down to fourth again. It almost looks like Andre's car just doesn't have the top end. It runs out of speed and he's making it up in the corners, but then he's struggling on the straights. I think if he were to able to perhaps just get a bit of a gap where he can settle in, he might improve his lap times, but at the moment he's being held up. Ooh, as we see Dirk getting on two wheels there, taking a bit too much curb. Alright, we have two drivers now at DNF. We have TJ also with a DNF, as well as Donovan from Mark. So unfortunately two drivers with DNFs. So the other driver that went off near the start, let's have a quick catch up, is Yandre Dippenaar. Now Yandre is hanging in there. He did a 26.2 on the last lap with the fastest lap so far of a 25.2, so I think his car is alright. It might be damaged, but not enough to ruin his lap, as we see, or his lap times, as we see Dirk having gone off. So possibly he will make up a few more places. He's now up to 5th place with Dirk having gone off, and he has a couple of drivers in front of him, so he can still steal a podium. Not too far up the road we have Richard, and that is 2nd place. So he still can get us a good solid 2nd place, which would be wonderful for the championship. But Richard definitely doing everything he can at the moment. But it's, I believe, Adrian now challenging at the moment. And going up the inside again. So once again, Andre being passed on the straight. I'm not sure if he's maybe just gone for a setup that has a bit more pull out of the corner, but possibly, well, I don't think the gearing is something you can change. Maybe the gearing is just a lot shorter in that car. I believe you can maybe change the wing, and maybe he's got a bit more wing on the car, but that might play into his hands later on. It looks like the drivers that keep passing him are sliding around a bit more, so maybe the tyre wear will play into it. Andre is on the soft tyre, but maybe he's able to preserve the tyres a bit more without all the sliding. Certainly we see Adrian now sliding around a lot. He's on the medium tyre, but that tyre definitely doesn't seem to be gripping as well. Right, so he's now not too far behind, 6/10 behind Richard, so that's 3rd place currently with 2nd place in sight. Jean de Tour is cleared off, he's 10 seconds ahead at the moment. I'm just watching the times at the moment to see what all is happening. So the gap between them currently just under 6/10. Of course we have an extended battle, so I can show that as well. We have the 3 drivers that are there, although that has just kind of grown slightly. Certain parts of the track, Andre, certainly on the straights, he loses out quite a lot, but then he does gain a lot in the corners, so I think his car may be just not suited to the longer straights here. Perhaps the BMs just have the edge on top end here, and that's giving them the advantage. Although we do see Gendre out front in the Hyundai. The Hyundai definitely not having a problem with its top end, or at least certainly for him, he doesn't have anyone to challenge him, so he's able to get his rhythm. Although his last lap was a 26.2, so perhaps the lap times will start dropping. So certainly on the last lap, I think our fastest driver was Adrian Nell on a 25.0. Right, Adrian up the inside of Richard, so Adrian now to second place with his battered BMW. At the moment it's currently a three-way battle. In the background we do have Andre Besson still there, 4 tenths behind Richard. So we're looking forward currently from Richard, and we're looking back from Adrian. So Adrian is looking at Richard, Richard is looking at Adrian, but in the background we see Andre as well. It looks like Adrian is now starting to pull a bit of a gap. And Andre is now starting to challenge Richard, so maybe Richard is now starting to struggle a bit. I think Andre does have the pace if he can get over the top end deficit. If he can just get a bit of clear ground and make a gap, I think he's alright. But the problem is he's definitely slower in the straight, and the others are taking advantage of that quite easily. And then they just have to make the car a little bit wider in the corners, and he can't get past. He loses just too much ground to even think about making a lunge into the braking zone. Well, good afternoon to all our viewers on YouTube as well. Hopefully everything is alright and all sound levels and everything are alright and you can hear everything clearly. And of course this will be going live at some point, or I say live, being shown on DSTV, so hello to all our DSTV viewers as well. Right, now a little bit of mistake there and things are shuffled up, and we now have Yandre Dippenaar in the fight. So Yandre now coming to the party. Yandre really is struggling here. He must be cursing in the car because he's got the pace. He can see he's got the pace, but every time he gets close he ends up losing out. So Yandre Dippenaar now the guy that's, I guess you could say, on the charge. But under threat at the moment for Andre. Andre is definitely having a look at him, and of course these are the corners where I think Andre's car is going to benefit, but then if he makes a pass he'll probably get past straight away on the straight. So unfortunate for Andre, he just doesn't have the legs to get him close enough. Maybe here with a triple slipstream he might, or I guess a double slipstream, he might get enough. He's actually alongside there. I think he's alongside enough to make a move. No, actually thinking better of it. Although he does go for it, he was about half a car length behind. Not quite able to do it though. Now the sunset is going to become a problem as well, so that's another thing that drivers have to be wary of. Beautiful sunset. So just under 13 minutes left to go, so we've got just over 10 minutes to go effectively. I think at this point of the race we're going to see the tyre wear play a part as we see Andre get really close. Wow, that was close. Is he going up the inside? He's there. I think he might, no, not quite enough. Thought he was just going to hang it next to Yandre and maybe in the next corner stick it up the inside, although then he would have to worry about the long straight now. But he's certainly looking like he's competitive. He's, I think, got the pace at the moment. His tyres are maybe holding out a bit better. He is on the soft tyre. Yandre in front of him is on the medium, as is Richard. And of course, Ardron has pulled away, also on the medium. The gap between Ardron and Yandre has come down by about half a tenth, so that's sitting at about 9.5 to 10 seconds. So currently this is the battle. The battle for the final podium place. Ooh, see Ardron in the background there, just getting on two wheels. Sorry, not Ardron, Andre. That's definitely not going to help for momentum. You would have to either roll off or straighten up or something, and if your car is turning too much, you can't turn into it too much because then you go off track, so yeah, very difficult to be in that situation. But I think, yeah, he's going to catch. This is the part of the track, as you see him in the background, taking a bit too much curb. But he's still catching. I think he's... cars maybe just set up with... oh, into the barrier there. Oh, no. Unfortunately, there, Andre hitting the barrier, spinning and managing to get back on track fairly quickly. Now, depending on his damage, if he's got a lot of damage, that could be the race over for him. But if he's not too damaged, he might catch up in a lap or two's time and still be able to challenge for the podium before the race is over. But at the moment, I think it's the challenge here for third place between Yandre Duppenaar and Richard Salier. So Richard now got his mirrors full with Yandre in the PZN coloured BMW. Right, let's see, can they give us a good fight to the end of the race, or will it be over quicker? The sun is now at least starting to settle a bit, or set a bit I should say. They're certainly coming over the crest here. It doesn't blind you yet, it only now blinds them there, so it's in a different zone. Doesn't seem to be affecting Yandre too much. He is driving in VR. Good over the curbs. Some of the cars definitely a little bit more unsettled over the curbs, where Yandre actually not looking too bad. Oh, very close there. I think he got caught out a bit by Richard's braking. I think managing to avoid contact, that was very close there. Right, Yandre, I think, lost a little bit of ground going into the straight because of that. Having to second guess what was happening in the braking zone there. As a result, lost momentum out of the corner. Does have the pace over Richard at the moment. Their last laps were 26.095 and a 26.098, about as close as it gets. Andre playing with fire, getting on the dirt there. Very different lines between them. Yandre taking a slightly straighter line, Richard taking the more sort of sweeping lines. There's some sparks coming off Richard's car, so obviously taking a bit more curb and coming down quite hard on the road. I'm sure Richard's watching his mirrors very carefully. This is the closest battle on track at the moment, so we have Yandre du Toit still out in front. He is there. Headlights are now coming on as we see the sun is starting to set. In second place we have Ardron now. He is 8.5 seconds back, so he actually is starting to close at quite a rate. Last lap was a 25.2 and Yandre in front at 26.1, so closing just under a second a lap, and at that rate he's going to run out of laps before he can catch up to Jandre, but it's going to be close. Of course, in third place we have Richard with Jandre right behind him. So this battle is still the closest battle on track. Andre Besson still currently in 5th place, so his car is still going. Last lap was a 25.4, so pretty decent lap times. He is still catching the guys in front, but I think the gap of 5 seconds is just too much for him to catch. I think he's catching at about half a second a lap, so he's going to also run out of laps. Peter Murray still currently in 6th place. I think also having spun out earlier, maybe got a bit of damage, but still hanging in there. Rene du Toit currently being passed by his son. So that's Rene being lapped by Jandre. In 8th place we have Dirk, who unfortunately did go off. He was showing very good pace. Still has pretty decent pace, a 26.7 on the last lap. We know he probably has some damage to the car because he did hit the wall when he spun. And JP Salir, our last driver that's currently running. The 2 drivers after him have unfortunately DNF'd. So while we were looking there, Jandre has actually got past Richard. Also noticed that Richard doesn't have his headlights on, so some of the drivers I think set their lights to be auto, where it will automatically come on, others do it manually. It looks like Richard maybe is set to manual. Oh, it was quite a drift. Doing well to hang on to it there was Richard, but I'm sure he probably soiled himself there. He might need a change of underwear. Seems to have composed himself quite well after that though, nice and neat through the S's there. But let's see, I think Jandre will now pull away. It looks like Richard's pace is flipping slightly. You'll see how the lap times look. The last lap, Jandre was a 26.1 and Richard was a 27.2. Which is quite strange because of their tyre choices. They're on the same tyres. Both are on the medium tyre, as is Adrian in front of them. Now, the only 3 drivers that went for the medium, everyone else decided to take the risk and go for the soft, and it definitely seems to be paying off for Jandre out in front. Although he's being caught, the gap is down to 7 seconds, although there's only just under 5 minutes left to go, so I think Adrian is catching, and it's going to be close, but I think if Jandre doesn't pick up the pace a bit, he's going to have a bit more of a problem. Well, saying that, the last lap he did a 25.3. It definitely is starting to improve. Yeah, lots of tyre school. I'm not sure that was. It wasn't Richard, so maybe it was Jandre just getting a bit of a slide there. Perhaps we can go on board with Jandre just to see what it's like. Do a lap with the current conditions of the sun setting. Where will the sun be a problem? Starting to definitely get a bit darker. Down to the final sector. To jump to Andre Besson's onboard perspective as we cross the line, because he is very, very close at the moment to Richard. I was going to wait, but it's very close at the moment. And I believe he's going to go up the inside here. Looks like it, yep. Richard giving him the position. I think he's moving over just to acknowledge that he had seen him. And it looks like Andre has moved up to 4th place. Let's see, he's got 2.5 seconds between himself and Jandre. Let's do an onboard lap with Andre. We can see what it's like. 3 minutes to go. That's probably maybe 2 laps. We might get a 3rd lap. So we'll keep an eye on the time. Currently 2.3 behind. So let's do perhaps a 1v1 battle in the bottom right here, and we can keep an eye on the time. So it's, at the moment it's showing the time to Richard, not to the driver in front. Oh, keep you all informed. It's coming down. It's 1.8 seconds, so he's made up almost 7/10 in that last sector. So at this rate, I think Yonder is going to have his mirrors full very, very shortly. Which I'm sure is not what Yonder was looking forward to. Having a battle for the podium at the end. I'm sure he's hoping that he would just sort of pull away and get it. Of course, he's also trying his best to fight for the championship. He has had some bad results, but he's come good in some of the races. It looks like they're lapping JP Salio at the moment. JP doing well to stay out of the way, so thank you very much, JP. Oh, but too much there. He would have lost it, but he would have had to roll off the throttle there. So the gap down to 1.6 seconds. So a minute and a half left to go. At the moment, Andre is on the charge. Richard is hanging in there behind him, so still 1.1 seconds back. 1.5 from Andre to Andre. So Andre is definitely catching. Will he be able to catch up and get that final podium spot? I'm sure he's trying. He's trying his best. And like we've said, the front wheel drive's definitely showing better tyre wear towards the end of the race. Of course, he's on the soft tyre. Maybe that's another thing with the front wheel drives have decided to take the soft tyre because they get better tyre life. So maybe it's evened out a bit and the wear will sort of hit them both towards the end. But it looks like Yonder in front is definitely not as quick. 26.9 the lap before and a 25.6 for Andre. So half a minute left to go. So there'll be one more lap after this. So we'll come back to that battle shortly, but our leader currently on his final lap is Jean-Ray Dutoy. There's a 5.5 second gap, so he should not have any issues with the gaps, even if he takes it quite cautiously, which it looks like he wasn't with the amount of curb he was taking there. As we see all the lighting, the sun definitely setting here now. The race time has now finished, so in second place, Adrianel. I guess that's quite a good recovery after all the incidents he's had to bring it home in second. I'm sure that will be better than he expected. He did start in second place, so finishing in second place, not too bad, especially with all the incidents that he's had. Third place, Andre Dupinard now under severe threat by Andre Besson. Andre definitely a lot closer. Andre now a second away, but I think that's just too little. I think in the braking zone after the straights might be the only place where he could do it, and I don't think he's going to be close enough. Although I could be wrong. Right, into the final sector, and I don't think he'll have any chance out of here. So let's now head back. Of course, we have Jean-Ray taking victory from Andre Nel in second place. Third place, Jean-Ray Dupinard. Andre Besson in fourth place. Richard salvaging fifth place in the end. And the only driver that doesn't seem to have his headlights on. Peter Murray still on track to come home and finish a solid sixth place. Monet Dutoy. Fortunately for Monet, he was, I think, the only driver that was lapped apart from JP as well. That would mean Dirk was also lapped. So I believe that Peter Murray is the only driver still on the lead lap. So coming around the final sector now. And we'll cross the line to take sixth place. So a solid sixth place. Alright, so we're going to head to an ad break and we'll be back shortly with our top 3 interviews. All right, welcome back, everybody. Well, that brings us to the completion of round 6 from Road Atlanta in the British Touring Cars. I am, of course, joined by our top 3 drivers, which are taking first place Jean-Ray Dutoy, and second place we have Adrian Nel, and in third place Jean-Ray Dippenaar. So let's start with you, Jean-Ray. That was an interesting start to the race. You had a fantastic pole position. You had quite an advantage with your lap time. It didn't look like it in the practice session. I was thinking Adrian was going to have the pace. But in qualifying, you pulled out the lap. You had quite a big gap. And then into turn 1, everything went wrong. But yet you at least seemed to manage to regain yourself. But how was the race? What happened in turn 1? Talk us through it.
In turn 1, the tires were a bit cold. I couldn't get heat into them on the formation lap. And so I just outbraked myself a bit and the car just wouldn't turn in. So I just tried to avoid the barrier, just keep it smooth on the grass so I can come back and just fight my way back up.
That was a fantastic victory, and that'll do great wonders for your championship. Obviously, you're chasing Adrian at the moment, being the current leader, and after getting pole position, the gap would have been down to 4 points. So I think now the gap will be down to 2 points if my math is correct. It might be wrong. We'll check that shortly, but fantastic race. And of course, now you're fighting hard. There's been an update to the front wheel drives. Did you notice any difference in the tire wear towards the end of the race?
No, for the first time I took softs. Previously I always took mediums because the tires wouldn't last. So this was the first race I did with softs, and they didn't really last. I mean, I had 15% left on my front left. But overall, I think the car is a bit more competitive towards the rear-wheel drive, yes.
That's great to hear. All right, Adrian, you had a very eventful race. You seemed to be very competitive in practice. Nothing seemed to go your way in qualifying, although you eventually put in a time that was almost there, but it was quite a struggle by the looks of things. You were all over the show fighting the rear end of the car, and that seemed to carry into the race. Were you having trouble with your setup today?
This track is just very tricky, unforgiving, to be honest. So you can change the setup, but then if you make the rear end strong, you're gonna overwhelm the front end and lose a lot of time anyways. So it's a give or take in that situation.
Yeah, it looked like certainly over the curbs, your car seemed to snap on you a lot more aggressively than some of the other drivers. And certainly when we were looking at Andre, he was taking a lot of curb compared to you. So maybe his car is a bit softer than yours. Maybe your car's suspension being stiffer or different setup, whatever you've done differently. It definitely seemed like when you landed off the curb that it would sort of snap one way or the other.
Yeah, was usually the case. I think because it wasn't just me, BMW also struggled with this. I think the front wheel drive is just being a more stable platform, being while you're on power, it just helps. But yeah, it's how the cookie crumbles, unfortunately. So yeah.
All right, then thank you, and well done on your second place. Yandre, a fantastic race for you, also very eventful. Not qualifying quite as good as you probably would have liked, but managing to at least work your way forward in the race, having a bit of an incident as well, going back and then coming forward. First of all, what happened in that incident? Second of all, was your car damaged? Because you seemed to take quite a knock, but your speed was still there at the end and you at least made the fight back to the podium.
Yeah, this track, that corner, every time it kills me. It doesn't matter with what car I race on this track, that corner kills me. My tires was cold, I stepped on it too early. And yes, I had aero damage quite a lot. Crew chief wanted me to come in to go and fix it, and I said, let's just race it like it is. And at the end of the day, all came together, and it was not too bad.
Yeah, which is also good for the championship. So having a good solid third place. These cars, you definitely seem to be more stable out of some of the corners. You were able to take more curb than some of the BMW drivers. It seems like the BMW may be a bit more aggressive over the curbs. Did you change your car so that you could ride the curbs a bit easier?
I did not do a lot with the spring rates and with the dampers and stuff, but I did touch it a bit, and I got it to where it is now, and it seemed to work for me much better than it was standard. But still, the curbs is a problem you need to stay away from. you need to know how to take them with this car.
You also look like you weren't having the brake issues. I know at one of the rounds, I believe it was the docks, that you were struggling a bit with the brakes. Were you finding that the update to the cars has taken away the brake issue that you had?
I had a little bit of hardware issue on my side, and then also set up with the max pedal force and stuff that I went and sorted it out, and I think I got it right now.
Well, great to see. Then let's just end with Jean-Andre. One last question for you. With this result, you've now taken a few points over Adrian. Are you going to be able to challenge for the rest of the championship and take home the glory?
Hopefully I can challenge him a bit. Yeah, with DTM's last weekend, he was pretty much unstoppable. But hopefully I can challenge him, yeah.
Yeah, the next round also being DTMs, and you haven't been quite as competitive as Adrian in the last couple of rounds of the DTMs, but you know, the two of you seem to be fighting tooth and nail, and of course you got Jean-Andre not far behind as well, so it's very, very close on points at the moment. But hopefully you'll have a good round at the next one, and we'll see you on the podium again.
Yeah, no, let's hope so.
So thank you to our top two drivers. I'm just going to drop everyone out, and I will say goodbye to everyone, and just do my final closing comments. So of course that brings us to the end of the round. That is now the end of the round, and we will be heading over to Road America for the next round, which is a track that drivers also love. It's a fast flowing track. I think it's going to suit the German touring car a lot better as well. The last round we had Suzuka, which is a very fast and flowing track. That German touring car that we have is kind of like a Formula car, just with a body over it, so it should work well. We'll also have Sean back with us in commentary for that one. So that should be an exciting round. It's a track that the drivers do enjoy. And then after that, we will have Linemark Park, which will be another track that I think will favor the front wheel drives because of the undulation. Then we'll have Hockenheim, which a very different track to Road America for the German touring cars. It's going to be a lot tighter. There's certain parts where it's going to flow a lot better, but certainly the final sector is very, very tight. You have to use the banking correctly. That could be quite challenging for the drivers. And then the final round, depending which round we take, Alton Park or Tony Rust. If Tony Rust is ready for us, we will be racing Tony Rust. That is still being created, so fingers crossed that'll be ready. It would be stunning to finish at the home of Namibian Motorsport. But until then, thank you everyone for joining us tonight and for today, this afternoon. If you're watching on DSTV, thank you for watching. And remember to hit the like and subscribe button if you're watching on YouTube. And we will be joining you in 2 weeks' time for Road America on the 3rd of September. Until then, have a great week.